Hello, everyone, and welcome. I see we've got at least two people here. Art Blade, good to see you, and Benjamin Bokai. Oh my God, I hope I said that right. I'm terrible at pronouncing some of these names, but it's good to see you both. Glad you could make it. Art Blade says you could see me at the start before the countdown for a second, but it didn't happen this time. No, thanks to your warning, I switched it to my what do you call it thing? This thing. Whatever you call this thing that pops up when I turn the camera off. That way you wouldn't see me until I was ready to be seen. So I see we got 9 people watching. I hope everybody chimes in. Say hello. Oh, Darwin Dominguez, good to see you. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Art Blade says that little thing is called a scene in OBS. Okay. Let's see. What's it called? And I'm not sure it has a name in StreamYard. It just says stop camera, and that pops up instead. So, David Knight is here. Hello. Just finished the first 3 books of your new series. I can't wait for the 4th. Very good. It'll go live right after the stream, probably around 5:15, same as last time. I set it to automatically launch, so I wouldn't forget. Michael Richards says hello. Hello, Michael. Good to see you. Andrew McDonald's here. Greetings. Good to see you. 01 Celia says hello. My first time joining you live. Oh, glad you could make it. Good to see you. It's always good to see a new face stopping in. David Knight says, wow, that's great. Makes for a perfect Sunday. Yep. I wanted to ask you guys, as long as I've got you all here, do you like getting the new episodes, the new books every week for 5 weeks and then going like, 5 or 6 months without anything new, or would you rather I space it out more next time? Let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to see what you think. Bluebin says, can't wait for the new book. Very good. Robert Mattingly says, hello, my first time. Good to see you, Robert. Thanks so much for stopping. Always great to see a new face. Andrew McDonald says, great way for me to end a Sunday and start a week. Very good. Darwin Dominguez says, yes, I love that. I was going to say that. Artblade says, excellent. Sundays wouldn't be as good without a new upload. Swissmedic says, what you're doing now is great. Okay, very good. David Knight says, I like them coming at me fast. I hate waiting for closure, LOL. All right, so that's at least 2 votes for lots of uploads, followed by working on it for a while before I upload some more. That's good. Whatever works, as long as you keep them coming. Michael Richards says, okay, very good. Darwin Dominguez says, I'm now excited, waiting for Sundays for the new book. Okay. Andrew McDonald says, I love this format. I don't mind waiting between series. Very good. That's what I assumed. I figured once I started, nobody would want me to wait too long, for each episode. So better to get them out and then take a break between. So yeah, okay, good. Chris Jackson says, you're an awesome dude. I'm a truck driver, and your books help get me through the long hours. I just started book 3. Very good. I'm glad I could do that. I get a lot of people saying that my books help them get through boring stretches of work or driving or whatever. Sometimes it's a health thing. If they're feeling ill, they can listen to get distracted. So that's always really nice to hear. So thanks very much for letting me know. Mohammed Levy says, hi, James. Sorry I missed the previous live. Not a problem at all. I'm glad you could make it to this one. John Reeve Lapig says, the sooner the better, LOL. Yeah, I get that a lot. Swiss Medic says, just started Aegis of Merlin last night and it's awesome so far. Okay, very good. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. Artblade doesn't mind waiting either, so okay. Robert Mattingly says, been listening to your work, very good, enjoying. Question, who is reading them? Joe Hempel is my narrator. I did a live stream with him a couple of months ago. You can find it in there, recorded live stream. So if you want to get to know Joe a little bit more, you can learn more about him in those live streams. Or live stream, I guess he was only in one. But yeah, he does all my narration, pretty much. Artblade says, but knowing they're coming right up after the stream is just icing on the cake. Okay, good. So that's sounds like I'm going about the right way. So I'll just stick with what I'm doing. Holden Ross says, is any of your books in the same universe? Yes, all my books are set in the same universe. Different worlds, but same universe. I think I've answered this question quite a few times in the comments of various videos. But what it is, the different worlds, but they all have the same archangels, the same demon lords. The ether is in all the worlds, and the void is in all the worlds. So they might not know about all of it, and they might use it in different ways for their magic, but it's always there. Hold on. Sorry, it's my first time. Oh, not a problem. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. I wasn't criticizing or anything. I'm always happy to answer questions. That just happens to be one I get a lot. Darwin Dominguez says, whatever works for you. Very good. Appreciate the flexibility. Mohammed Laving says, I was listening to book 3 and totally zoned out while I was in a public place. Totally forgot to school my expression and people staring at me like I was nuts. Yeah, I imagine that was pretty funny. I've seen people here and there who are listening to like comedy channels and they'll just burst out laughing all of a sudden. And everybody looks at them like, something's wrong. So yeah, it's it can be tricky if you're listening in a public place. So at least if you care if people notice you're really into what you're doing. Blumen says, have you ever thought of having your books turned into shows? I just feel like they would fit well as a show format. I would love to do that, but it's not really up to me. So I can't, I don't have millions of dollars to get them turned into a movie, or a TV show. So that would be up to, one of the big streaming companies or whatever. Holden Ross says, your books have gotten me through many months of working alone at a donut shop. Oh, good. Glad to hear it. What donut shop? I'm actually not a huge donut fan, but if I do have one, I prefer Krispy Kreme. 1K subs before 2023 says 1. And I should make a movie. Yeah. Like I said, I can't I don't exactly have the money to do something like that, unfortunately. It'd be cool if I did, but yeah. David Knight agrees that some of my works would definitely make a great TV series. Very good. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's tricky. It's not like I can just, wave a magic wand and have somebody offer me a contract or anything. So you kind of have to be patient with that sort of thing. Holden Ross says, Amy's Donuts. They started in Colorado, have been spreading along the southern U.S. Oh, that's very cool. I've never heard of them, honestly, but it's amazing how many different, restaurants there are focusing on basically the same thing. 1K sub before 2023 says, your book saved me from hours of boredom. Well, very good. I'm glad I could do that for you. Lots of people say that, it helps spend the time. So I'm glad to hear it. M is for Moon. Holy crap, I made a live. Awesome. Glad you could make it. I don't think, is this your first one? I don't think I've seen you pop up in the chat before. So that's very cool. Thanks for stopping. Holden Ross says, I've been teaching myself how to draw again, specifically for comics. If you want to go into another medium, I'd be glad to help. Interesting. I actually have a comic that I've got a company working on for me. If you look at my list of videos, there's a motion comic I had made based on my Soul Force Saga. Excuse me, just a minute. Based on my Soul Force Saga series. That's pretty fun. Book 2 is just about done. I think I've got 2 more pages, and book 2 will be done. And then move on to part 3. Timmy Brown says, wait, are we getting uploads every weekend? That would be insane. I really enjoy your writing. Oh, thank you. Not every weekend, but this weekend and next weekend will be books 4 and 5 of the new series. And then that series will be done. And we probably actually won't have any more uploads for at least a few months. At least, full-length audiobooks. I've got next month, Joe's going to be recording 2 novellas set in my Soul Force Saga universe. He's going to be redoing The Lightning, which I read myself and serialized, and Knights of the Red Dragon. I'll probably upload those sometime towards the end of March, give or take. But yeah, once next weekend is done, it's going to be a little while before I upload any more audiobooks. It takes so long to make them. So, Nahalan said, just dropped by to show some love. Your writing is wonderful. I especially love how you write your protagonist. Well, thank you. That's very kind. I'm glad you stopped. And to hear the books read by the author just adds something special. Yeah, I don't actually read any or most of them. That's Joe Hempel, my narrator, who does. So, yeah, I don't think you'd probably want to listen to my voice for a whole novel. And he's really good at putting emotion into the characters. He does a really great job. So, 1K sub before 2023 says, is there an 8th book for the Portal War series? There isn't at the moment. I've got a vague idea for an 8th book, but I haven't even started writing it or anything yet. Mohammed Laving says, I love how we got the connection between arcane lords from Otto's world in this series. It seems Ahmet Sur was more connected to the Void. No, he's not. The Void hasn't been contacted on the Portal Wars world. Holden Ross says, I'll definitely go check it out. I'd love to see some of your books be turned into cartoons or comics, though, especially the Portal Wars. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I had a lot of fun translating the prose fiction into a script for the artist to follow. I really enjoyed it. Andrew McDonald says, how many words on average are your books, and how long does it take you to write one? My books, the short sci-fi novels, the Rogue Star ones are all around 40,000, and I think my longest is Death and Honor, which is actually really 2 books smushed together, and I think that one's around 140 some thousand. I write about, I don't know, 10 or 12,000 words a week. So depending on the length, it usually takes me 4 to 6 weeks to do the rough draft, plus time for editing and proofreading and all that good stuff. So to just write the rough draft is usually, I'd say 6 weeks is a pretty good average. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Holden Ross says, your voice isn't as bad as Stephen King's, LOL. I haven't actually heard any of his, I know he narrates some of his stuff, but I've never actually listened to any of it. M is for Boone. I'm going to start collecting your books. I've been following you all winter. Awesome. I appreciate that. David Knight says, yeah, poor narrator can ruin a book. You chose well. Yes, Joe's been great. I think he's done well over 30 of my books. So Mohammed Laming says, I imagine the black bile had something to do with the void. I'm not going to answer that because you'll find out after the live stream when book 4 comes out. You'll find out a lot more about the black bile. So I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Artblade says, I see a change in your background. I see a white ring sort of sitting, looks like a music stand. Is that your makeshift halo? Oh, I usually have that turned to the side, but when I put it back, I wasn't careful. That's my ring light I use when I record the intros and exits for my audiobooks. When I recorded the openings for the new audiobook, it's always there, but it's usually turned so you can only see the edge and it kind of blends in with the bookcase. But yeah, it's just a ring light, so I have better light for making videos. Emma Spoon says, I can't stand King, listening to King. Maybe I'll try and avoid it then. I've got a bunch of his books that I've read. Some of them are really good and some of them are hard to get through. Swiss Medic says, I started writing a novel a year ago and your books have helped me a lot for inspiration. My question is how you structure your writing. Do you go with the flow or do you plan everything beforehand? Yeah, I don't plan anything beforehand. I write into the dark. Basically, I know who the main character is going to be. I know where he's starting out, and I have a vague idea of what happens in the first chapter, and then I just write, and whatever happens, happens. And if I need to go back and change something because if something happens later on, I do that. It's not a big deal. Holden Ross, yeah, Joe is awesome. I love the emotion he puts into your work. I'm wondering where he's from, though. He has a slight accent in some of his words. Joe lives in Texas. I don't know if he was born in Texas, but I think he lived for a while in Ohio as well. But right now he's in Texas. David Knight says, if I recall, did you say autographed hardcovers for sale? If so, where? I'm hoping I'm not confusing you with another author. I had hardcovers. I had hardcovers for sale on a Kickstarter I was running, but it ended last Thursday, the 26th. But I am working on getting books, physical copies up on my PayHip store. So if you're looking for autographed hardcovers, I will have some available probably. It's probably going to be a couple of months just because the printer needs to print it up and I have to do orders and stuff. If you're interested, you could go to my website, jamesewisher.com, and use the contact form at the bottom and contact me and let me know what you're interested in, and I can order some, and then I can reply to you when it's ready and arrange for you to buy it that way. Just so you know, only the Portal War Saga and this new Soulbound Saga are the only ones that are currently available in hardcover. So, and that's any of you guys that are interested, just contact me through my website and I'll go ahead and order you a set of hardcovers that I can sign and ship to you when they're ready. MS Ramon says, same Swiss Medic. His work has inspired me to start writing. And oh, that's very cool. I'm glad I could do that. Inspire you that way. Nahilan says, what is one book that has a special place in your heart? Definitely The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. It was the book I remember reading that made me think I wanted to be a writer. So that was very cool. That's definitely, that book will always have a special place in my heart for sure. David Knight says, King has a unique twang when he narrates. I tend to like it for some reason. It's probably a Maine thing. People in Maine have a very distinct sound to their voice. Holden Ross says, King did Bag of Bones, so it was hard to get through. But honestly, I think no one else could have done better. That was his favorite book. I haven't read that one. Artblade says, okay, cheers. By the way, I saw a peak of 25 watching so far. Not half bad. No, I think that's actually pretty close to our best number since maybe the very first live stream when people were mostly just curious. 1K sub says, how much time does it take for you to write one novel series? Just the rough drafts. It depends on the length, of course. I think the Soulbound Saga, the rough drafts took me almost 6 months, maybe something like that. And then, of course, copy editing takes 2 weeks for each book, and then proofreading takes a week for each book. So I would say it probably took, for those 5 novels, probably took 9 months before they were actually finished. Pretty close to that. Metal Monk says, hey there again, Mr. Wisher. What do you think is the biggest obstacle you face personally as a writer? Like business obstacles or production obstacles, or could you be a little more specific? Bluebin says, IA Texas. David Knight says, great. I look forward to it. You can definitely count me as a big fan. Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate it. Muhammad Lamy says, how are you going to manage it when your live streams start hitting around 1,000 viewers? I don't know. I think that would be super cool, though. It would be a lot harder to answer all the questions, though. I might have to go 2 hours and, kind of take my time working through them. But yeah, it'd be great to have more people stopping in. It's always fun when I see a name I haven't seen before pop up. Artblade says, yeah, like the premiere. Yeah, that was very cool. I was very pleased with how well it went. And Proelium, I think. Hi, James. Really liking the Soulbound Saga. That's awesome. Thanks so much. I'm glad to hear it. Corey Burgess says, hey, love your work. I spread the word to as many people as I can, although I will say I've always wanted to become a writer, but I've always heard it's not profitable. I make a living at it, so I mean, it's not easy to make a living at, but you can definitely do it if you're determined. I wouldn't recommend traditional publishing, though. Especially for a beginner, they pay really low advances and take all your rights. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that. 1K sub says, what is your favorite book you have written? My favorite book is always the one I'm working on at the moment. Once I'm done, I'm ready to just move on to a new thing. So definitely the current project is my favorite project, but I'm very proud of all the books I've written. I think they turned out really well and people seem to like them. So that's totally cool. Metal Monk says, for me, they are writing obstacles. I tend to lose the sense of character for each person as I go, and it makes editing very daunting. Either an answer that covers the job or the process would be fine. Let's see. It's tricky because I suppose figuring out I don't really have too much trouble with characters. Once I get into a character set, I'm pretty good at keeping it consistent, I think. editing can be tricky. But I have a great editor, so she keeps me on the straight and narrow. I don't really have a lot of huge problems or obstacles when it comes to the writing. I've been doing this for a while and gotten pretty good at it, but my main obstacles now are on the business side of it, and there are so many people putting out so many books. It can be really hard to stand out and have new people find your work. That's one of the reasons I've been so pleased with the YouTube stuff, because I found a lot of new readers and new fans who enjoyed my stuff. But yeah, it's definitely the business side of writing that is more of an obstacle for me than the writing part. I find the actual writing part very relaxing and enjoyable compared to the business side of it. So I'm not sure if that really answers your question, but that's just how I find the work myself. So Nahalan says, "What is your proudest achievement as a writer?" Proudest achievements. I know finishing my first novel was quite a proud achievement, and when I got when I hit 1 million views on my YouTube channel, that was quite a proud achievement. I'm not sure if that counts as a writing achievement or not, but I figured I must be doing something right if 1 million people have watched my watched or listened, I guess, to my audiobooks. So yeah, I would say those two things are my proudest. Mohammed says, "I love how you approach the soulmates concept. A lot of authors make it like a romantic relationship. You've made it so much more versatile. I love it." Oh, well, thank you. It was kind of a neat idea, I thought. Yeah. Anyway, that's I actually got I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was sort of an Easter egg where Fane has the black pearls that each have a complete soul in them that she gave to Samaritan. I took that from or borrowed it, I should say, from the Divine Key trilogy and what Daktari does. So I thought that was kind of neat. Robert Mattingly says, "What order should I listen to?" Already did the Portal Wars and listening to Soulbound now. What's your recommend? Each series has a reading order, but you can read the series themselves in any order you want. So if you haven't read the Divine Key trilogy or listened to it, I would recommend that on YouTube. Also, if you like sci-fi, the Roguestar sci-fi series is fun. I think either one of those, depending on what your preferences, would be good for your next listen. T-Tam says, "Thank you for sharing with us on YouTube. You're great writing original sci-fi fantasy books. Love getting lost." Awesome. Glad to hear you're enjoying it. Nahalan says, "I would count on it." That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when it popped up on my dashboard, I thought that 1 million views is pretty cool. Gabriel Badwolf, good to see you. Just got here. I spent half an hour arguing with my iPad over setting up the email. Yeah, ain't technology grand. I spend a lot of time arguing with it myself. Corey Bridges says, "I've shared the Portal War saga with a lot, and everyone loves it. I always describe it as Harry Potter for grown-ups meets Game of Thrones." Haha, yeah. I never really thought of it as being much like Harry Potter, but the Game of Thrones thing I could definitely see. And I really appreciate you sharing it. Michael Richard says, "Where does the Soulbound saga fall in the timeline of this universe? Or more specifically, is Ahmet-Sur already dead at this time?" He is already dead at this time. I thought one of the really sad things for Fane is she's going to all this trouble to try and conquer a world for a guy who's never going to show up to claim it praise her and say, hey, great work, or whatever she's looking for. So, yes, at the time of the Soulbound saga, Amet-Sur is dead, or banished to the Netherworld, since I guess that's what passes for dead for an arcane lord. Darwin says, yes, I noticed. That was awesome. Cool. Glad you did. I always like to try and sneak in the little Easter eggs where I can. I kind of picked that up from Marvel movies. Holden Ross says, Portal Wars and Divine Key are my absolute favorites, but you should give more love to your sci-fi imagination. I'd love to see another sci-fi book. I definitely have one more planned in the Rogue Star series. Something to wrap up the Children of the Void story arc. I'll probably work on that this summer, maybe. We'll see. Gabriel Badwell says, I just finished listening to the Soul Force series. Oh, that's awesome. Did you enjoy it? I'll be getting the rights back to that starting January of next year. So next year it'll be up on YouTube for everybody to enjoy. TTM says, thank you for sharing your sci-fi and fantasy books with us. I enjoyed them all. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you did. Thanks for listening. Metal Monk says, thanks for the thought-out response. Before I head back to my work, have any of the characters you've written surprised you? Since you don't go by a guide, it seems like natural evolution for them. Yes, my characters constantly surprise me. I don't know where it comes from, but it's my favorite part. My absolute favorite part of writing is when the characters do something that I had absolutely no idea they were going to do. And they do it at least 2 or 3 times every book, which is awesome because that's what makes writing fun, at least for me. And sorry you got to go back to work, but I'm glad you can make it, and I hope you'll stop in for another live stream. Socialist Republic of Denmark. That's a new one. Who's your favorite author? Favorite author right now is Joe Abercrombie. I think his Blade Itself series is fantastic. Maybe some of the best grimdark I've ever read. I'm also a big fan of Raymond E. Feast. I've read all the Rift War Saga books. Corey Bridges says, I only say Harry Potter for people who like magic. I gotcha. Mohammed Levy says, now I await with bated breath for an epic threesome, LOL. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen in the Soulbound saga. At least not the way you mean. Gabriel Bad Wolf says, I loved it. Oh, good. I'm glad. Marcus Samoas is here. Great to see you, Marcus. Gabriel Bad Wolf says, I'm starting the Dragonspire Chronicles next. Very good. That was a fun series to write. I really enjoyed that one. One of my all-time favorite characters. Maybe close to my all-time favorite. I don't know. Pretty close though. Is in that series is Mose, the retired ranger. Let's see. Anything else? About the Harry Potter thing, I just didn't want people to get the idea that Portal War Saga was kind of a more innocent kind of story. It's pretty dark. So Michael Richards says, I have to go. I'm in the middle of Darkness Rising and I gotta keep. Thanks for what you do. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to hear you're into the Soul Force saga. If you don't mind my asking it, are you listening on Audible or somewhere else? Hey, Big Pete's here. Good to see you, Pete. Glad you can make it. I don't remember seeing your name pop up last week. It was a little bit odd. I'm so used to you being here all the time. Marcus Simone says, did I see that the Wizards of the Coast back down on the new open game? Yeah, I did see that. I also saw that Hasbro laid off about 5,000 or 6,000 people after they changed the rules. So I'm not too surprised. Corey Burgess says there's another series that is connected to the Portal Wars. I am new to your work. I've only read Portal War Saga and the Sci-Fi Saga. The Soulbound Saga is connected to it very loosely, but I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything for everybody. But it is loosely connected, mostly with Easter eggs and mentions of stuff from the Arcane Lords. Marcus Mo says, I'm licensing here. Max 2.0 says, hi. Hi, Max. Glad you could make it. I think you're another new face for the live stream, so very cool. Gabriel Badwolf says, Audible mostly for me, but bought the latest series from your website. I appreciate that. I don't know if you guys caught Brandon Sanderson's rant about Audible, but yeah, they don't really pay very well. I think around 20%. So not fantastic. I get 85, I think 85, almost 90% when you buy direct from me. Unfortunately, Soulforce Saga is currently licensed to an audiobook publisher, so I can't sell it direct yet. But as soon as I get my rights back, I will be selling it direct. Gabriel Badwell says, only found out about how bad the split from Audible was recently. Yeah, it's pretty sad, really. But it's also the biggest audiobook market, so you kind of have to suck it up and take what you can get. Better than nothing. Big Pete says, missed last week. Life gets in the way, unfortunately. Families break stuff I got to repair. I hear you. I'm just glad you could make it this week. Thanks so much for stopping. Max 2.0 says, I was here last week. Oh, I'm terrible with remembering names, so I apologize for that. Nahalan says, have you ever considered blending sci-fi and fantasy? I've always been interested in how that would play out. Yeah, I've actually got a science fantasy project I've been working on off and on. Mostly just playing around in it between other books. I've written about, I thought I was starting the series and I wrote about 100,000 words, and it ended up being a prequel to the main story I want to tell. And now I got to write another 50,000 words to get to where I think the main series is actually going to start. So I'll jump back to that eventually, but I've got some other stuff I need to finish first. Sci-Fi Nerd 1911's here. Hi. Glad you can make it. Thanks for stopping. Mohammed Laving says, as I wait for book 4, I'm listening to another author who also posts his works on YouTube, Ernest Dempsey. His books are also really good. Oh, good. I am not familiar with Ernest Dempsey, so it's very cool. Corey Burgess says, I read the first book, but to them it seemed like magic was a weird and unholy. So far, I am excited for more. Oh, good. Alden Ross says, thank you for letting me chat. I got to get back to the rest of Soulbound Book 2. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much for stopping in. It was great having you on the chat. Sci-Fi Nerd 1911 says a science fiction fantasy book would be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's interesting way, isn't it? It's a fun thing to combine. Holden Ross says, you seem to be attacking religion in Soulbound and a few of your other series. Am I reading that wrong or am I right? I'm not trying to attack anything personally, but back in the day, religions were pretty rough. I describe the Soulbound saga, the Tiberian Empire, as being Roman Empire if you mixed in the Spanish Inquisition. So it's their religion, at least in this fantasy world, isn't a particularly nice one. So Gabriel says YouTube is a good way to go for exposure, if nothing else. I first found you through YouTube. Well, that's great. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do it was to try and find new fans. I'm actually working on I won't call it a Patreon, but a membership thing. So see if some of the subscribers would be interested in supporting me that way. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and I want to make sure I pick the best one. Holden Ross says, "Okay, now I'm out. Bye." So long, Holden. Hope to see you next week. Mohammed Laving says, "Will we ever see real-world espionage in your books, like Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan?" Probably not, but maybe. You never know. I suppose you could do something that combined magic with real-world espionage. That might be interesting. Marcus Samoa says, "I just love the dwarves." Yeah, they were fun to write. Max 2.0 says, "What is your target audience?" Not really sure. I get men, women, young people, older people. It's hard to say exactly. Fans of dark epic fantasy, grimdark kind of stuff. I should be better at defining my target audience. Probably that might help, but Corey Burgess says, "It makes me think of Warhammer. They are out there killing heretics." Yeah, you're not wrong. Big Pete says, "YouTube is the only thing I engage with." Yeah, I am bad at social media, but I do like doing YouTube, and I love doing these live streams, chatting with you guys. It's probably the most fun thing I've found to do as far as social media goes. I read Twitter, and I'll happily respond if people ask me questions, but I'm bad at just chatting or just tweeting about random things. I don't particularly enjoy doing it. Gabriel Adwell says, "I'm from Northern Ireland. You don't need to tell me about how divisive religion can be. Zealots do a lot for it even today. Got no problem with religious people, just some organized religions." Exactly. Marcus Mo says, "James, can you talk about the Geomancer's idea without spoilers for the people of the chat?" They're just wizards who specialize in manipulating and controlling earth and stone. It's very much a dwarf thing, although anyone can learn to do it if they have enough time. I thought it made sense for the dwarves to specialize in a type of magic that would be useful when you were underground all the time. So that's how it came to be. Big Pete says, "I like that the dwarves in this series aren't infallible like in some stories." Yeah, no, my dwarves are very fallible, especially the Bramrel family. They are extremely fallible. Mike 2.0 says you should try posting snippets of your books on TikTok. Yeah, that might be an interesting way to go. I don't even have a TikTok account. I'm not even exactly sure how I'd go about doing it. Corey Burgess says, "I do have a question. Do you think we'll ever continue Otto's story, or was the end for us to kind of imagine where he goes from there? Like I was saying earlier, I may do another book in that series. I have a vague idea. I've been kind of kicking around, but I just haven't focused on it because I have a couple of other things I want to get done first. But it's definitely, I think, a possibility that there'll be at least an eighth book. Probably set about 10 years or so in the future from where the Sanguine Scroll ended. No promises. I think I might be able to do that. Muhammad Levy says, I wonder, was that sword made out of mithril? Don't want to spoil it. You'll find out when the new book drops. Kaludi Chow. Oh my, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'm going to butcher your name. Kaludi Chowdhury, I think. I'm a senior over 70, and I love your books. That's awesome. I've actually had a few older people who have emailed me over the years and said how much they enjoyed my books. So it's very cool. I've also had teenagers email me and tell me how much they like my books. So Marcus Smo says like Earthbenders and Avatar, sort of definitely along that idea. Earth elemental magic, I would call it mostly, but yeah, definitely on that idea. Artblade gives a thumbs up to Kaludi. Very cool. Thanks, Art. Let's see. Max 2.0 says I'm 16. So 70 to 16. There's my target audience. It's a bit wide. And I think I have a fairly equal split between men and women too. So that's very cool though. It kind of makes you feel like your writing is sort of universally appealing. At least it makes me feel that way. So that's very neat to know. And thanks both of you for sharing your age. I know that can be a touchy subject. Oh, now Darwin Dominguez, I'm in between at 32. All right. Anybody else want to share? I'll go next. I'm 44. So I'm in between two. Let's see. MS from Moon. I think a target audience is whoever likes the book or books. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Muhammad Levy says, stop alienating 90-year-olds. Just kidding. Well, hey, if a 90-year-old wants to listen or read my books, I am totally cool with that. Corey Burgess says, I'll be 29 in 3 days. Oh, happy early birthday, Corey. Zero One Celia, 32. Marcus Samoas is 40. Artblade, I'm about 10 years your senior, so 54. Very good. Gabriel Badwolf got me by 4 years. He's 40. Marcus Samoas wants to know if I've started Vox Machina yet. I have not started it yet. I have been watching the Scrapped Princess anime, but I'll definitely get to it. It's in my watch list on Amazon Prime. Big Pete's 47, and I just enjoy a good story going on in the background while I work. Fantasy is just one of my preferences because I enjoy a good journey. Very cool. M is for Moon. Old, LOL. Yeah. I had one lady email me saying how much she enjoyed my work, and she described herself as older than dirt or something to that effect. And I was like, that's an awful thing to say about yourself. But She seemed to mean it, in a tongue-in-cheek sort of way, so I guess it's all right. Nahalan says, what is one of your favorite TV series? My two favorite TV series of all time are Breaking Bad and Justified. Those are both awesome. I would totally recommend either if you're into mysteries. Corey Burgess says, you enjoy anime? What is my top 3? I'd say favorite anime for anyone, but who likes anime usually has a tough time with that. I do have a tough time with that, but I will say Overlord, Full Metal Alchemist, and maybe maybe Dragon Ball Z. I really enjoyed that when I was younger watching it. T-Tam says, I'm 57. Robert Jordan, Lover, and Joe Abercrombie. Very cool. I like Robert Jordan as well. I think Brandon Sanderson actually did a really good job finishing up his series, though. MS from Moon, older than white dog poo. Oh my. That's a bit graphic. Max 2.0 says, watch Rise of the Shield Hero. It's a really good anime. Kind of reminds me of some of your books. I watched the first season, and I quite enjoyed it. I started the second season, but I didn't like it as well as season 1. Mohammed Laving says, speaking of journeys, which is the farthest point you've traveled from home? You seem like you have quite a lot of experience on the matter. I actually despise traveling. The farthest I've ever been from home is Orlando, Florida. We went to Disney World, I think, when I was 12, and that's the farthest I've ever been. And if I never have to go that far again, I'd be perfectly happy. I'm very much a homebody. Dara Mninga says, well, I'm out. Great to see you and the familiar people here. Take care. See you next Sunday. Okay, Darwin, we're getting towards the end of the stream anyway, so it's I'm glad you could stop in. Thanks very much. Good to see you. And I will see you next Sunday. Definitely. Corey Burgess says, I love Overlord. The new season was great. I love Reincarnated as a Slime is a big favorite for me. Naruto would probably be my top 3, but I don't know. I like so many. Yeah, it really is hard to decide. Reincarnated as a Slime was another one where I really enjoyed the first season and wasn't so crazy about the second. Naruto is good where it follows the manga, but the filler episodes could be kind of dull. Corey Burgess says season 2 of The Shield Hero is not as good as season 1. Definitely not. MS from Moon, I have to go. Have a brilliant day. I will try to catch you next Sunday. Great. It was great to see you, and I do look forward to seeing you again next Sunday. Thank you. Max 2.0 says from Michigan to Arkansas. Yeah, that's pretty close for the same distance from New York to Georgia. Blade says this was a fun stream. Thanks, James, and everyone in the chat. See y'all next Sunday. Yep, good to see you, Art. Glad you could stop. We'll be winding up in a couple of minutes here, so. Gabriel Badwell says Dragon Ball Z was one of my favorites as a teen, even if it did seem ridiculous sometimes on how many episodes a fight could take. Yeah, that is true. I think they stretched out some of those fights for half a season. Marcus Smo says, Goblin Slayer is my go-to anime inspiration for Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I liked Goblin Slayer. I have, let's see, over there, right there. I have the whole series of the light novels on my shelf. I preferred the light novels to the cartoon anime. Corey Burgess says the worst part of Naruto is how many plot holes they left. Yeah, when you have that many episodes, it's tough to close all the plot holes. Max 2.0 says Dr. Stone. I watched the first 3 episodes and I couldn't get into it. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't my cup of tea. Mohammed Laving is getting butterflies in anticipation of book 4. Thank you. You're welcome. Good. I hope you enjoy it. It was book 4 was a fun one. They were all fun. Who am I kidding? I enjoyed them all. Corey Burgess says, yeah, I didn't know about this. I'll be sure to stop in more often to say hello and say how much I enjoy the last of your books I've read during that week. Awesome. The more the merrier, I say. Heartblight says, I'll stay to the end, man. Just didn't want to miss my chance to say thanks and goodbye. Oh, you're welcome. And speaking of the end, I see we're at 56 minutes, so I am going to call this the end. Had a great time. It was good to see everybody. Good to see some new faces and some familiar faces. Till next week, I'll see you next time. So long, guys.